Action. Hey, 2201 Myers, Michael!
When you think of Hollywood, you probably think of large sets, bright lights, and huge camera rigs. And for the most part, you'd be correct. But in more recent times, that's changed. Everything has gotten much smaller, including the cameras. You no longer need those big movie cameras because people are shooting movies on DSLRs. What is a DSLR, you may ask? This is a DSLR. It stands for Digital Single Lens Reflex. For most people, these are for taking pictures, but did you know movies have been shot with them? If you didn't, today you're going to learn because we're going to explore DSLRs in Hollywood. Back in 2008, Canon released the 5D Mark II, and little did they know that this camera was going to be a huge hit among filmmakers. Canon made this camera mostly for journalists who needed really good photo quality and for those who needed to shoot small video clips here and there. But it soon caught on that the video from the camera was really good and more people wanted to see it for themselves. One person in particular was Vincent Lefort, a French-American filmmaker.
The coolest thing about this camera is that any still photographer or amateur can just pick it up out of the box and just start to shoot films. When the prototypes of the 5D Mark II came into the Canon offices, I saw this camera, saw what it could do, and I just knew I wanted to try something with it. Little did I know that we'd kind of put together this little short film called Reverie. You know, we were doing storyboarding between midnight and 2 a.m. The day of the shoot, and at 4 p.m. we set action for the first time.
People noticed right away, and from there many people used the camera on big sets like The Avengers, House MD, and of course Act of Valor. Act of Valor's director of photography Shane Hurlburt chose the 5D Mark II because it was small and produced an amazing image. Shane also talks about his experience with the Canon 5D Mark II in a little workshop he did, and if you haven't seen the video, I would definitely recommend it. It is a very cool video talking about his experience on set with the camera. At the same time, Clayton Jacobson got his hands on the camera, and this is what he had to say.
When I first heard about the Canon 5D, I was blown away by the image quality and the dynamic beauty that people were getting just straight out of the box. And I just had to have a play. But rather than just do a week of tests, I wanted to put the 5D through the rigors of a regular film shoot. For me, that's the true sort of litmus test for any camera. I wanted to see if the workflow would allow us to shoot doco style at pace with unfolding events that I had no control over. And I wanted to shoot more traditional interview setups with controlled lighting, dolly moves, and the occasional Steadicam shot. And the 5D literally surpassed my every expectation.
As if Canon wasn't doing a great job with the 5D Mark II, they decided a year later to release another camera, the Canon 7D. People took the 7D and did the same thing with the 5D. One big example was a movie called Like Crazy, a drama romance film.
What do you want me to read?
Something you wrote.
Okay.
The crew used the 7D with adapted cinema lenses and got some very amazing results with it. The 7D was also seen on the set of some smaller projects. It was used on a commercial for a dating site. The director hired Philip Bloom because he owned one at the time. They chose to shoot on the 7D for a couple reasons.
We asked Phil to shoot on the Canon 7D DSLR. This camera shoots high-definition video, but because it's basically designed as a still camera, it allows us to be very flexible with the lenses we can mount on it. The combination of the 7D, good quality glass on the front of it, and Phil's shooting style means we can achieve a very filmic Hollywood look with shallow depth of field without the cost of shooting on film.
A TV show was also shot on the Canon 7D.
So the interesting thing about this particular sequence is the camera that we're using, which in fact is a still camera. It's the Canon 7D. With all this crew, all these people, we're actually just using this little camera now, the new technology that's available. What's really interesting about it also is look how mobile it is. And all around it is almost 100 people, all this equipment, but It's just this little camera.
To the left also, we see the back of it. Yeah, there you go. All around it some more, yeah.
The other thing about this this particular sequence that we're doing is that we've used a lens which distorts it slightly, which I really liked. I liked that it sort of distorted, it gave it a kind of an interesting effect. So I'm saying it's nice to come around on this, it's that it gives it's kind of a wide lens and it kind of, you can look, you can almost see there, that it gives it a really interesting quality.
And lastly, an indie film called Open When Johnny Can Read got their hands on the 7D as well.
I guess I never could find anyone to fill his shoes.
This is Uncle, what was John like when he was a little boy?
Oh, he was a special kid. Oh, I guess every old crow thinks hers is the blackest. Johnny pretty much kept to himself. He always wanted to do things the way he wanted to do them.
Canon quickly became a video staple in the industry, but little did they know their competition would show their hand. In 2012, Nikon released the D800 and it was packed with a huge punch. It had 36 megapixels and a movie mode that was amazing. Hollywood picked up the camera and used it on the show Dexter. The director of photography, Eric Fletcher, says Dexter is a very neat monster and an unbalanced individual. We went for a totally different look that taps into that, and to do that we had to shoot from some very strange places and equally odd angles. Fletcher also goes on to say that the D800 paired with the Arri Alexa really well and the footage looked absolutely incredible together. Another production that used the D800 was a short film called Joyride. Here, director Sandro used the camera much differently. Sandro wanted to put the camera more in the middle of the action. So with the D800 doing so well, did that mean people needed the 5D or the 7D anymore? Not really. I could only find 2 productions that actually used the D800. Now let's fast forward to 2018 and the possession of Hannah Grace. A big film with a big budget, but shot on a small camera, the Sony a7S II. Known for its low-light capabilities, this was the perfect camera for a horror film.
We're shooting on the A7S Mark II.
That is a 35mm full-frame CMOS sensor. I mean, it's basically a very big sensor in a small camera.
This is kind of the ultimate test to see not only will the cameras perform, but can we make the whole thing as a unit perform.
Cut.
This is the first time that a studio movie is shooting with a camera that is available to the consumer, the A7S Mark II.
We can shoot at relatively high ISOs. Our base ISO for most of the show has been 3200, and when you look at the dailies, surprisingly noiseless for how high that is.
With the release of so many new cameras, it's very interesting to see where we've come from and the tools you can use to show people your world. Maybe it isn't about the gear you have, but what you can do with the gear. I've seen many people do some incredible things with smaller, inexpensive cameras. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a big thumbs up. If you liked it, subscribe, leave a question and comment, and until then, I will see you guys in the next video.